welcome to Carol's Kitchen. I'm a Thermomix consultant here in Perth, Western Australia, and it seems like a little while since I've been cooking in front of the camera, and it's something I really want to get back to. I was actually inspired by watching the Thermomix in Australia Facebook Live yesterday, where the dish of the day was Ruvani's gourmet beef and potato curry pie. We love pies and we love curries, so it's just one that I had to make. It's actually out of the 20th anniversary cookbook, Creating Something Incredible, which is an absolutely fabulous book. Wish I got a copy to show you. I've got some in the post, hopefully delivered in the next few days. But yeah, if you have the opportunity to have a look at that book, it is beautiful. Telling the story of Thermomix in Australia in the last 20 years, and lots of family history and things like that. So it's a beautiful, beautiful book. Okay, well, I've got the recipe up on the cookie dough screen here, and as with all cookie dough recipes, the time that it takes is on the screen, the ingredients, prep steps. We're just going to make the pastry first of all. So this is actually a cheese pastry, so that makes it extra tasty. I'm just going to put in 80 grams of tasty cheese. This is going to be a little bit noisy because we're just going to grate this 5 seconds at speed 7. Now we want 200 grams of unsalted butter, and this is cut up into cubes. And whenever you're making any pastry, you want your ingredients to be cold. Get this first, the butter from the freezer. Let's pop this into the bowl. Being frozen, it's a little bit stuck to the dish, but that's okay. Next, we want 300 grams of plain flour. One teaspoon of whole cumin seeds. This pastry is obviously going to have just that little bit of extra flavour to it. And 130 grams of chilled water. So this is water that's got some ice cubes in it. I'm just going to use the spatula to stop them going into the bowl. Because these scales, measuring to accuracy of 1 gram means that you feel like you've got to be that accurate too. So 130, perfect. A teaspoon of freshly squeezed lemon juice. So in goes the lemon juice. And half a teaspoon of sea salt. So we're just going to put in a couple of good pinches of sea salt. Insert the measuring cup, which, as you all know, just means put the lid on with the measuring cup inserted. And this is just now 5 seconds at speed 6. Let's take a look. My butter was really well frozen, so actually it looks pretty good. So it should be crumbly in texture like this. You don't want it to be perfectly smooth. The idea is that this is a flaky pastry, so you need some of the butter to still be in lumps. All right, okay, so I'm just going to tip the pastry out onto the thermomat. Just twisting the nut on the bottom helps to release the pastry, the dough, which is still pretty crumbly. And then we're just going to bring it together into a bowl. It does actually make quite a lot of pastry, so if there's any pastry left over, you can pop it into the freezer and save it for another time, particularly if you're a smaller family and you don't want to make a huge pie. The pie filling actually makes a really nice curry on its own. So I could just wrap this up. I'm just going to let that rest for a little while. I'm just going to pop that into the fridge. 20 minutes clean and dry the mixing bowl. Well, if you're very lucky and you've got an extra mixing bowl or two, you can just grab another bowl and pop it into the cradle, and that's just what I'm going to do now. Okay, so here we are with a clean bowl. 180 grams of brown onion, just cut into pieces. 3 garlic cloves and 20 grams of vegetable oil. I'm actually using the light olive oil, which is perfectly fine. pop the lid on. And just 3 seconds at speed 5. So we're just going to chop the onions and garlic. Next, 10 to 12 fresh curry leaves. We're really lucky to have a curry plant in the garden. And it also says half a cinnamon quill. So this is actually quite a thin piece of cinnamon, so the whole thing's going in. Get the measuring cup. And just going to turn this to speed 2. It's going to cook for 10 minutes at 120 degrees. It's going to give us some great aromas shortly, as those onions and the garlic, the curry leaves particularly, are very aromatic. Assuming it's going to tell me to scrape down, let me see. Or remove the cinnamon quill. Okay, it's going to be a little bit warm. Put that to the side. So 70 grams of tomato paste. So the garam masala in the bottom of here, see the little layer there, that's actually made in the Thermomix. And of course you can also grind your own fresh spices as well. So a tablespoonful of fennel powder. This little middle layer here was fennel seeds until a few minutes ago. So there's cumin in there as well. Insert the measuring cup. And 2 minutes at speed 2 and 100 degrees. So we're going to now cook the onion and garlic mixture with the spices. And next, some more spices. So a teaspoon of ground ginger, a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 to 1.5 tablespoonfuls of curry powder, and again there are recipes to make your own curry powder, a tablespoon of Kashmiri chili powder, so that gives it a nice colour and also a little bit of heat. Okay, so we've just mixed this 10 seconds at speed 5 and we've got a beautiful curry paste in there. It smells delicious actually. Smells good. Next, we're going to add 750 grams of chuck steak. It can be any sort of slow cooked casserole steak. This is actually shin beef. Just going to add that in here. 300 grams of water. Insert measuring cup into mixing bowl lid. And it's saying 50 minutes, reverse speed 1. So because this is a casserole kind of beef, the other option is to put it in a slow cook recipe. So you're using the slow cook mode, and that's actually what I'm going to do. So bowl number 1 is coming back into play here. I'm actually going to insert the blade cover. Now, if you've not seen the blade cover, it just fits on top of the blade. See, I haven't actually washed this bowl because a little bit of dough in there isn't going to do any harm within the curry. So the blade cover sits on top of the blade. It fits the TM5 and the TM6 and it protects your food from the blades. So if you're doing a slow cook, or if you want to do something like meatballs or chicken drumsticks, chicken winglets, poached fruit, even boiled potatoes and things like that, pasta in the bowl, then the blade cover is a really useful accessory to have. So what I'm going to do now is to just transfer the meat and other ingredients, the water and the paste, into this bowl. You know, there are some like little holes in the blade cover, and that actually allows liquid to circulate whilst keeping the blades from touching the food. So you still get a circulation of the liquid. Okay, pop the lid on. So I'm actually going to now go to home, swipe across, scroll, slow cook, and you can go slow cook for up to 8 hours. I'm actually going to reduce that to 3. I think 3 hours should be enough. It's already selected 95, so for slow cooking you want something like 95 to 98 degrees. And then we just tap on the slow cook icon and away she goes. So this is just getting out of the recipe a little bit, it's just tweaking it to what suits me at the time. And it's important to know that you can do that with the cookie dough recipes. You don't have to necessarily follow it exactly, you can tweak things to suit your own time, availability or to your taste. You could actually even do this recipe with chicken. So chicken would require less cooking. So you would have to just think about, again, adjusting your cooking times if you were to use chicken instead of beef. Alright, well it's on slow cook. Pastry is in the fridge chilling nicely. So we'll come back later and see if we can get it all together. Okay, so we're almost at the end of the slow cook. The next part of the recipe is just to weigh 100 grams of frozen peas and pop it into a dish. So I've actually already done that. And then we're going to add 300 grams of potatoes that are just diced, 2 to 3 centimetre dice. And that's going to go in with beef curry as part of the filling. And there she goes. But I'm just going to go back to the recipe, because if you remember I did a slow cook instead of the step that was in the recipe. I go back to the recipe, 100 grams of frozen peas, set the bowl aside, which I've already done, 300 grams of potatoes peeled and cut into pieces, I've actually already done that. We're just going to now cook for another 15 minutes at 90 degrees on speed 1 and reverse. So I'll just add the potatoes into the bowl. And just turn that to speed 1. Okay, the last few seconds, and I think next says to transfer everything into a bowl, including the frozen peas. But I'm actually just going to add the peas into here. Let the filling cool for 40 minutes before we make the pie. So I'm just going to add the peas as I have done and let it cool in the bowl for 40 minutes before we actually assemble the pie. Okay, so the pastry has rested and I'm now just rolling it out. It's flaky pastry, so we're going to roll and fold and do that a few times. So I've got about a 55-60 centimetre length and I'm just going to fold it into thirds. It's pretty rough at the moment, it's not really a rectangle, it's a little bit uneven around the edges. Turn it a quarter turn and then we're just going to repeat that roll, just adding a little bit more flour as we go. Giving your arms a workout. And just flip it over, a little bit more flour. The pastry is still quite cold, which is what you want it to be. But roll. We can get it to about 60 by 20. See all the nice cumin seeds still in there and the stripes of butter. Add a little bit more flour. So we're going to do this, I think 3 times all up. Okay, and the more we do it, the more it's actually going to become a sort of perfect rectangle. So I'm just going to fold this into thirds again. 1/4 turn, a little bit more flour. And roll again. So this is the second one. And this is just going to create layers in the pastry, make it nice and flaky. Okay, so this is the last roll, and we'll just fold it again into thirds, and then we're just going to put it in the fridge for another 20 minutes or so. And again, we'll just wrap it in the Thermomix to keep it all nice and together. Just stop it from drying out as well. Just a little bit more. I need to visit the gym today. Right. So just 1/3 in, 1/3 in, and there's our pastry. So I'm just going to fold that up, tuck the ends under, and just pop this back into the fridge for about 20 minutes, and then we'll start creating the pie. Okay, so now we're going to make the pastry case. So I'm just going to roll out the pastry. It's been in the fridge for at least 20 minutes just resting, and we need to roll this out to fit something like a 23 centimetre pie dish, fairly deep side because there's lots and lots of delicious filling. And the Thermomat has got circles already printed on it, so there's a 24 centimetre circle. We also want it not to be too thick, so we want to make it much bigger. I'm going to roll this out and then use the pie plate as a guide as to where to cut. We also want to make sure that there's plenty left to put a lid on the pie. So rolling it out to maybe about a 1/4 inch thickness at the most, or maybe even an 1/8 of an inch. It's a nice pliable pastry. Just got the pie dish. Doesn't really matter where we put it, I suppose. Okay. Alright, let's see if we can get this into the pie dish. Press it nicely into the dish. The ether has to go into the fridge. So I'm just going to rewrap this in my Thermomat. Put this back into the fridge. Okay, so we've got the pie filling which is cooling with the peas and the potatoes in there. And I've just put some baking paper and some pie weights onto the pie base, and this is now going to go into the preheated oven at 200 degrees for just 10 minutes to hot bake the base. So the pie base is in the oven. It's blind baking for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to take it out, take the baking paper and pie weights out, and just give it another 5 minutes in the oven just to finish the base off and make it a slightly light golden brown colour. Okay, so the pie case has just come out of the oven, and oh dear, it has shrunk quite a bit. So that's my tip number one. You really need to make your pie base quite a bit bigger than your pie dish. And it's also, even though I blind baked it, it's actually risen in the middle, so I'm just going to have to push the middle back down with a tea towel so that it regains its pie shape. Okay, so there is the edge of the pastry case. You see how flaky it is? That's pretty impressive, a flaky pastry from the Thermomix. Okay, we're going to put some of the pie filling into the pie base. And there's going to be lots left, but this is actually a curry in itself, so we'll be able to just eat this as a beef curry. And I've rolled out the remaining pastry into a circle which will more than fit the base that we've made. I'm expecting that will probably shrink a little bit too, so okay, that's probably enough. That's maybe used about half of the filling that I made originally. Let's put a bit more potato in there. Just going to lift this pastry lid, put this on top. Just going to press it against the existing pastry underneath. I'm just going to make a few little vent holes so that the steam can escape. I'm just going to brush this with a little bit of whole milk. You can use milk, egg and milk mixture. And then we've reduced the oven temperature to 190. So we'll just oven temperature a little bit. And we're just going to pop this back into the oven. I'm actually just going to make a bit of a pattern on the edge of the pastry here. Might not be the prettiest of pies, but I'm sure it's going to be very delicious. And the first time you try a recipe, of course, you don't know quite what's going to happen, how it's going to turn out. So I've learned a few things, and next time I make this, I'll just tweak it a little bit. Okay, so that's now ready to go back into the oven. Okay, so the pie's just come out of the oven, and here she is, a little beauty. If you can again see the flakiness of that pastry, it's gorgeous. So this has had 30 minutes, a little bit less than the 35, but I think because it's probably a little bit smaller pie too. I'm going to let this cool and reheat this for our dinner tomorrow. We've actually already eaten this evening. It's taken me a little while to make this pie because I've been doing it in little bits and pieces. As you can probably tell by the changing of the light and even the changing of the hairstyle. I had my hair cut this afternoon. Okay, well I will show you pictures of it when it's cut open, and I hope you try this recipe because it really smells delicious. It's got some rave reviews, and yeah, if you love curry, love pie, give it a go.